What's up, guys? It's Rich back with another Arma Reforger video for you today. And in today's video, we're going to talk about some of the best settings for the new Arma 1.3 update that just came out today. With the new Arma Reforger 1.3 update, we've seen a bunch of new add-ons and a bunch of new additions that obviously are going to impact performance. As we know, Arma Reforger can sometimes run like a sluggish train. If you guys are curious what the new add-ons that came to the game, make sure you guys check out my previous video. I'll have a link down below in the description, so make sure you guys check that out. Also, guys, if you do enjoy the video today, make sure you guys slam that like button and click that sub button, as we're trying to hit 10,000 subs this year. So I do appreciate you guys supporting the channel in that way as well, but just taking time out of your day to watch my videos, I do appreciate that a ton as well. If you guys have any questions about any of these settings today as well here, make sure you guys let me know down below in the comment section. I will do my best to answer as many as I see, but I also know the Arma community is super helpful, so I'm sure somebody will also come along and help you down below in the comment section, but make sure you guys share below any thoughts or questions down below. For the settings and the tests I've been doing today that I spent a few hours here trying to obviously hone in, I've been doing in a controlled environment, in an offline session, in a game master session, because as we know, with these modded servers, there's a lot of stuff that comes into them and affects performance outside of obviously just the unmodded vanilla experience. Also, I want to mention everybody's PC specs are different, so you don't necessarily have to follow this along word for word. Obviously, I want to explain what each of these settings do, but make sure you guys tweak this to your own system. My PC specs are a i7-13700K. I have a 4070 graphics card and 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. And again, I want to stress this, these don't necessarily going to line up with your system, but this is what runs best for me and overall looks the best for me as far as the overall experience when I'm playing Arma Reforger. Really quick before I get into the settings here, I don't want to waste too much of your time, but the main things that I'm looking here for in my settings are obviously going to be clarity, the ability to see enemies in range and obviously inside, and obviously not take too much of a hit in my performance, but still make the game at least look playable and suitable. My offline average FPS right now has been 140 to 160, and when I'm playing the WCS servers, I'm averaging around 90 to 110 FPS, and I don't mind that at all because obviously I understand there's a lot of stuff in that server. So with all that, obviously I'm okay with being around that FPS mark. But again, we're using a control test environment for all these settings. That's what I've kind of gone through here, but enough of that, enough of the yap. Let's get into the actual settings here. Quality preset will start up here. Custom, windowed mode, borderless, full screen, render scale. You want to set this down if you do feel like you're struggling for FPS. However, if you're going to turn this down, make sure you guys turn on Fidelity FX Super Resolution or else it's going to look like absolute crap. What this does is it scales your game down, but it uses Fidelity FX Super Resolution to upscale it so it doesn't look like absolute crap, but it still gets you that overall benefit and performance. VSync, no. This obviously just adds input latency. FPS limit, I've heard some people say turn on an FPS limit, so you obviously cap it and there's no input latency. However, I don't notice any input latency with it on or off, so that's completely up to you if you want to use an FPS limit. In every game I play, 99% of the time I have it unlocked. My draw distance is now set at 2000. I previously had this at 1450, but I didn't notice enough of a performance loss from 1450 to 2000. Maybe we're talking about 5 frames at the most. But this obviously can also range in terms of your PC specs as well. So if you're struggling with the FPS in the game, obviously turn this down. What this does, if you notice in the background, all this does is remove the obviously background and mountains that you can see back there. Nearby depth of field, no. Use 2D scopes. Now this is a setting that you can turn on or off. I'll quickly just show you what it does. So you can see the outside of the scope here, obviously outside of what I'm looking at. It uses picture in picture. And then if you turn this on, you can obviously get a lot more FPS, but what it does, it takes out the entire side picture so you can't see what's going on around you. And I don't really recommend that, especially in a game where you need spatial awareness like Arma Reforger. Use software cursor, no. Post-processing and clarity go hand in hand in Arma Reforger because there's a lot of bushes in this game, so we don't want a lot of those ragged edges. As far as my performance goes, I didn't notice much of a change with any of these settings, but the best one in terms of clarity, from my opinion, is going to be the FX AA high. Now, feel free to tweak this. Obviously, everybody's eyes can be a little bit different and react a little bit different to the game. Depth of field quality, none. That just obviously affects, it tries and adds emergent factors, but it doesn't make the game look good at all. Ambient occlusion, HBAO, low. Screen space reflections, low. Contact shadows, no. What this does is it obviously takes about, I'd say 10 to 20 FPS out of your game. And all this does, if you look down here, you notice it adds shadows to the bottom of the scopes, kind of the bottom of the rocks, kind of just adds more shadows to the games. And in my opinion, don't need that. Now, if you do like, obviously, immersion and stuff like that, completely up to you. I personally don't like it. Let's just leave it at off. Obviously, ambient occlusion, I didn't mention this, but what this does is inside the internal shadows inside of a building, I don't really like to mess with that. I really rather have that at low more than anything. Now, moving over to the quality section, we don't want to have any hardware anti-aliasing. Obviously, turn that off. That affects your performance a significant amount. Model geometric detail, low. You could put this in medium, but I do notice if I want the best performance overall in this game, as far as how beefy 1.3 is, and obviously there's going to be some more patches that come out and optimize the game a little bit better. And when that happens, I'll try and tweak my settings a little bit to that, so obviously I can get some more graphic fidelity out of it without costing too much. But right now, there's a lot of stuff in the game. The huge update happened, and performance isn't going to be the main focus. Next up on our list, object draw distance. This is obviously related to the 2,000 meter view distance that I was mentioning earlier. Now, this does have an effect, obviously, with the bushes and the trees that go on in the background. I like to leave this at medium because it overall balances out nicely with that 2,000 meter set that we have for that view distance. Terrain surface detail, I didn't notice much of a difference with this at all. I set this to parallax. It looks the best for me. Move on to the next section with that. Texture detail high. This overall doesn't affect as much in frames as you think it does, and overall it does affect the overall look of the game as well. I left this at high for my PC, but if you need to turn this down to get some more frames, definitely go for that as well. Texture filtering low. This does affect about 5 to 10 FPS on there as well. Grass quality and grass draw distance. This right here is honestly the biggest culprit of FPS. If you have this from lowest to the highest settings, you're gaining and losing 20 FPS. When you have it set to lowest, you're going to get that bump of extra 20 FPS. And all this does is adds grass to the ground. I'm going to show you here real quick. So this is at high. And the main thing you can tell is you look at the ground now that there's grass on it. And honestly, to me, now, I'm sure some of you guys might like that immersion, but we're trying to get the best performance out of the game right here. So lowest is the setting you want to go for, in my opinion. Grass draw distance 100. I don't want to have that any higher. Now, if you do want to have it higher, completely up to you, or lower for better performance. The lower you go, the better FPS you'll get. Shadow quality low, distance shadows none. Render target format standard, environment quality medium. As far as the overall performance in those, changing those up didn't affect it too much, so I just stayed in the range. And I'm pretty much in a really comfortable spot right now in terms of the frames and performance that I'm using right now with these video settings. I'll go through my other settings here real quick. But audio, I use a outside mixer. I use a obviously software program to use that as well. So this stuff obviously doesn't really affect me too much in game because I use a program outside of it to tweak my audio settings. However, inside of here, I would recommend turning on tinnitus. That does help as far, especially with the ringing. Interface, I don't mess with this too much. I just use it obviously some things on and off for thumbnails. Gameplay. I don't switch, I haven't really messed with this at all, but my sensitivity, you can see down here, I use 1600 DPI. And if you want to copy my sensitivity, feel free. You can pause it at this point in the video. First person field of view, I have it at 90 degrees. I love maxing out my FOV. In games, it just lets me obviously understand what's going on around me at a higher point and a higher reference. And as far as the controls, the only setting that I would recommend changing here, especially if you're a new player and you have no use for your side mouse buttons, I would recommend putting your map to your side mouse button. It definitely helps being able to just pull it up really quick and being able to see if there's a friendly or an enemy ahead of you without having to look for that key on your keyboard. In my opinion, this has improved the way in my experience with Arma Reforger, so I definitely recommend you give that a try. All right, guys, so one more thing I want to talk about real quick is something that I noticed a lot of people were having with the mods or any issues, and I'll do my best to try and explain some of that here real quick for you guys. But if you do play WCS, I did see a lot of people were struggling with the RHS status code mod. The thing, I was having that same issue as well when I was trying to join a server. It was giving me that error because before obviously you join some of these servers, they recommend you go ahead and wipe all the mods by clicking this little trash can and then reinstalling them by clicking into a server, and it'll download them all again. But some people were having issues with that RHS status code. So what I did was instead of before I reinstalled it via the multiplayer server browser, I went to Workshop and then I went to it right here, RHS status code. You can also search for it if you need to, but you can click into here and then you can click down here and download it right away. Now that solved any problem I was having with it not downloading, and as far as my other mods, they work seamlessly. But something I recommend doing if you have any issues with that is clicking into that and clearing out all your mods, and then going into the workshop and looking for that mod directly and downloading it. All right, guys, so that about sums it up. Again, if you guys have any questions regarding any of this stuff, Arma Reforger 1.3 wise, I'll do my best to help you guys down below in the comment section. So make sure you guys share your thoughts or questions down there. Guys, again, if you do enjoy my video, make sure you guys slam that like button and hit that sub button. If you do enjoy my content, I do appreciate you guys for watching and taking time out of your day. Hopefully these settings help you out enjoy Arma Reforger and a better overall experience, because I know Arma Reforger is a really awesome game, but it can be really impactful on a lot of PCs and obviously affect the overall experience that players have. So with all that being said, guys, if you want to catch me live streaming some Arma Reforger, make sure you guys head over to the Twitch channel or catch me streaming right here on YouTube as well. I'll obviously be interacting and answering as many questions regarding 1.3 or any settings. I'll either catch you guys there or catch you guys in the comment section. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you guys later. Peace and love. Bye.